Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the August 17th Smackdown review. Now let's get into this review. First segment, you got Alberto Del Rio with Ricardo Rodriguez coming down to the ring and Alberto calling out Booker T. Because if you didn't see the last Smackdown, Booker T essentially called off the match between Sheamus and Alberto. He wants to be reinstated. Booker T comes down to the ring, and I wish to say that Booker T was a good choice for SmackDown. Not that I didn't love, for some reason I'm blanking out on Teddy Long's name. Sorry about that. But, like I said, I love Teddy Long. Great, he was good. But he's not as good as Booker T bringing energy to the show. When he was in commentary, Booker T just brought an energy that made it more interesting. And now that he is now the general manager of SmackDown, it's much better now. It's got more energy. Maybe, hopefully, they'll change how the format of the show is when it comes to the actual matches. But let's not worry about that right now. Having him there is good. Now, getting back to the ring segment, Booker T tells Alberto, no, you sicked 5 guys on the Sheamus instead of actually having the balls to actually deal with them yourself. You're not getting a rematch. While they had their interaction, which wasn't bad at all, who surprised me coming out was Chris Jericho. I didn't expect him to come outside and talk. He basically told ADR to shut the hell up and threw a little bit of Spanish out. Now, I wish to say that, as far as I can tell, Chris doesn't usually do that. He's always been known to do something off the cuff. He's always been good for that. Doing this little Spanish bit thing, I think he said he's like a Chihuahua shit or something. Sorry for my language. But essentially speaking, this was not a bad segment. Having that little touch of throwing a little Spanish in where you know that Chris used to work at Mexico and New Japan, that kind of fits in his character, being an all-around world guy, which was actually quite good. At the end of that bit of the segment, Booker T said, we're going to have a match between you two, Jericho and ADR, first time ever. Now, obviously, they have faced each other several times in probably tag team, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, 8 to 8, 6 to 6 tag team, or even just a regular tag team. So having them together wouldn't be bad. Next segment, which I believe really, for me, made this more better. Rey and Sin Cara versus The Miz and Cody Rhodes. I wish to say that Cody Rhodes is not being fully utilized. Hopefully he will be after this. The Miz, I'm hoping he does not lose his title to Rey, since I understand that it's going to be in California, the part of California where Rey lives actually. San Diego. I'm hoping Rey doesn't win this strap, because I'd rather see Miz hold it for a little while longer, but I would understand why they do it, because that would be in his hometown. But saying this, the match wasn't bad, it wasn't great, but the thing that made it good for me, not the point that Cody was pinned by Rey. No. This match really didn't elevate Miz and Cody that much. This was supposed to be the first taste of seeing Rey and Sin Cara together. I'm hoping now that they'll make them as a tag team, and if they're not going to be a tag team, I'm really hoping that Rey is going to work with Sin Cara more. When it comes down to it, since Sin Cara's been here since last year, he has not delivered. Since Triple H brought him in when he was originally called Mystico, he did not really deliver as a performer, especially when he tore his patella tendon. I understand why the Slug Daddy basically laughed his butt off at that, and what happened with Psycho Sid. I myself, like I said in my previous videos, I wasn't really into seeing wrestling after the 1990s. I was very busy at the time, going to school and stuff, and then working. I never really had time, and next to having a crazy ex-wife that really didn't like wrestling. But essentially speaking, I didn't see that breaking his leg, and now I saw it. It sounds crazy. I didn't really think about looking at it until really thought about it. And then seeing basically Psycho Sid jumping off that second turnbuckle, hitting Scott Steiner, and Scott tried to sell it well, and then seeing his leg just go whoop. I understand why the Slick Daddy laughed. Now it makes sense. Oh man, it's just ugly. It's not good to think of someone getting hurt like that, but it's understandable. And I'm hoping that Sin Cara and Ray work together, and Sin Cara work better, especially one day they're going to have that match. Sin Cara and Ray have to have that match. Ray must pass the torch to Sin Cara. It must be done because Ray's getting older. He's not going to be in this for much longer. He may have a couple more years in it. I don't know about the spoilers on how long it's going to keep working, but it's obvious we need another Max Luchador in there, and he fits the bill. Hopefully he'll get it done right. Next segment, we have Regal and Eve in backstage. I found this not bad, for the simple fact that Regal, who we don't really see that much on television, who is a good mid-card wrestler and not bad character, doing his little bit with Eve, wishing her good luck, and then having to throw the trash out while he's talking about, I was the greatest, I was the head of Raw, I had a whole bunch of power, but I messed up. This is a little taste of what Eve is going to be dealing with Booker T, and I'll explain that later. After that is, and I'm not going in full order, I might be out of order a bit, Eve and Caitlyn having their match. And this is where it's sad, because the Divas Championship has not been talked about at all. There's probably going to be a match for the Divas at SummerSlam. It's going to be like a dark match, I think. And probably Layla's going to be going up against maybe Beth Phoenix again, because they did have that match when it came with Caitlyn and, Caitlyn and Layla with Eve and Beth. They'd probably throw that out there, which is going to suck. The Divas has become a joke, and it's sad. We really need Karma back. I say, hashtag, please Karma come back. We need you. Now, going back to the match, I can say at least you could see that Caitlyn can actually do a decent match. It was short, thank goodness for that. Eve won. Teddy Long was out on commentary, didn't even say anything, but the way he was doing his facial features made it interesting for him, showing disgust. He does not like Eve. And after that, Eve wins, walks off happy, and then after a commercial we see Eve with Booker T, and she says, I got energy, I'm going to be great for your team, and just give me a chance to shower up, and I'm yours. And I say this clearly right now, that look on Booker T was like, two thoughts came to my mind. One, how am I going to get rid of this girl because I don't trust her because she was with John Laurinaitis? Or two, how the hell do I jump that body? Oh, Eve is what I would call a sexy type of character that should be a manager. Like I said before, we don't have sexy female managers. Taking away from Vicky, she's not sexy. She's appealing but not sexy. Rosa Mendez and Oksana. Oksana's not a manager, but at least she's eye candy. She looks good. Rosa Mendez looks good, but she's not sexy. She's not. I say this clearly, she's not sexy, but she looks good. Eve is sexy, looks good, knows how to think, will be good as a manager, and I hope she goes to that. Next, Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins. Case of Tony T. If you see this video, I can see why you like Tyler Rex. He's good, but having him be a Chippendale with Kurt Hawkins, are you kidding me? I don't know what it's like to be in one of those places with Chippendales. My ex went to one of those places. She said she loved it. That's why we ain't together now. One of the reasons. But essentially speaking, this made no sense. But it is good they are getting a new type of gimmick. They need it. They need a new gimmick. It's important to have a new gimmick because they're not doing anything with superstars. And when they come over to Smackdown and Raw, they're getting squashed, like with Bye-Bye. So they killed two jobbers. Essentially, they really tried to sell this new gimmick, the new attitude. I hope it leads somewhere, and that little opening for this theme kind of gets thrown out, because I really don't like it. But at least they're doing something different, and that's important. Next, Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. Let me give it to you like this. Both of these guys don't give bad matches. They don't. They were together. They gave a decent match. They did. And I can say this, that it wasn't boring. It wasn't. At least it was decent enough they had a acceptable match. And then when Daniel Bryan put the no-lock on Orton, and then the lights dimmed, and the fire came out of the ring, and he ran out like he was a scared little baby, shows that they really don't have a lot for him to do. They have to put him against Kane. I'd rather see Kane doing something else other than this because he's better than this. It's not bad, though, because they have to have something for both of them to do. At SummerSlam, I doubt they're going to do anything afterwards unless they're going to keep injecting AJ Lee, which sucks. She's boring and sucks. But if they separate them after this, it would make sense. It would. And I'd rather see it like that. You know, Randy couldn't just lose. He had to have the RKO. It's got to be about him. But taking away from it, it was just acceptable. The next one is Antonio Cesaro and Oksana. And I pronounced the name several times wrong before. I apologize for that. Like I said, I'm still trying to learn how to be able to not get nervous doing these videos. But taking away from my own nervousness, the match between him and basically Zack Ryder was not a bad match. It did show a little more for Antonio to, in ring, being able to wrestle more, because we really didn't see much of it other than Superstars or NXT visibility. Now he's on one of the beach. Now he's on the beach show. He shows more of himself, which is not too bad. I don't like his gimmick of a rugby player. I understand what Slug Daddy is talking about. I'd rather see him, if he's going to go rugby, I'd rather see him dressed as a rugby player. Not that. So, essentially speaking, he squashes him. Santino was out there talking, which was funny, talking about, I've been bulking up, I've been eating a lot of sodium, which was funny. He basically pushes Santino. Santino gets pissed off, wants to kick his ass, and then Santino gets thrown over the announcer table and start fighting one another, cursing at him. That was good. That was a good segment. This is a good, hopefully, good mid-card feud that will last longer than SummerSlam. Because I wouldn't mind Santino losing the belt to Antonio, as long as they have something more for him to do. Because if he only does a couple of matches on either one of the shows and go back to Superstars, it was useless. That was stupid. At least with Santino, at least we got to see the belt. And he is a good character. Final. We have the segment with Alberto Del Rio coming to the ring in his new, I think it was Aston Martin. Waits in the ring for Chris Jericho to do a backstage with Chris coming, and then Dolph basically kicks his butt. Hurts him, and you figure, well, that means it's over, but there's going to be some type of screwiness. ADR wants to be considered the winner. Doesn't happen. He basically sees Chris surprisingly comes down to the ring, and as you see the match goes on, where Chris sells the injury that he got from Dolph, getting hit by the loader very well, you can actually see him get actually hurt because his abs were pretty red by the time the match was almost over. At the end of the match, you have Dolph interference, grabs his leg, and ADR pins him. End of the match. I can say it wasn't a bad match at all. Both of them had some decent chemistry in the ring. I liked it. After the match was over, ADR puts the armbar on Chris, tries to break his arm. Sheamus comes to the ring and starts fighting. I wish that Sheamus could have sold his injury a little more, but you know how it is with Sheamus right now. He's got to be dominant. ADR gets kicked out of the ring and then runs amongst the spectators. Booker T comes out and Sheamus begs him, please reinstate the match. Booker T pretty much says, if I reinstate this match, it's for the title. He says, I don't care. The one who wants this match more than ADR is me. Give it to me. He gives it to him. And now we have that at SummerSlam, which they thought would hype it a little more. My thoughts on this, the match was decent, and the show wasn't bad. I give it a C+ show. I'm hoping that they'll continue doing it, at least going a little better than they did like the Smackdown before the last one, because it really wasn't that great. So I wish to say, I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Subscribe and comment. I hope you have a good day.